It was just the timing. I went under the wave and it just pushed me, bam, like that, in a crack. I think that's the closest I thought I was gonna die.
You have to swim and you have to put yourself in serious situations or unique angles.
You really gotta almost take someone with you into that situation for them to comprehend what you're doing and where you are.
It can be -2 and you're putting a wetsuit on at 6 in the morning, it's pitch black and you're waiting for the sun to rise, and yeah, it gets pretty extreme.
And I think that's probably the biggest danger, is taking a fin or a surfboard to the face.
You don't want to get too close. You'll get dragged across the reef if the wave catches you.
When a wave picks you up and throws you over and you get sent down with the lip,
it's actually quite manageable, but from the outside looking in, people are like, that's crazy, that's mad, it's a dangerous thing to do.
When your brain is telling you you're caught inside, you're toast, that's when it gets scary.
Water photographers capture images seen in magazines and social media worldwide. Little do people know how these images are produced and the dangers involved in getting the shot. Surfing is one of the most exhilarating adventure sports on the planet. The athleticism on display by world-class surfers continually pushing the boundaries of what seems to be humanly possible on massive waves. It's a visual masterpiece for any photographer. As the sport began to progress, the creation of surf magazines began to develop. The need to fill the pages with action-packed images became a necessity. Soon, the surf photographer was born. It was this innovative group that pioneered shooting from the water, paving the way for the future generations that changed the way the world would view surfing, seen in the magazines around the globe.
I arrived in Hawaii in, say, 1971, and I just remember that there was no pioneers anywhere to be seen. It was scary because I'd be by myself going, okay, I have my water housing, and I'm looking out at these horrible looking shore break. There was no mentors then to say, okay, paddle out here, let me hold your hand, And so in that sense, it was really intimidating.
Like in Hawaii, there wasn't that many of us. So as far as water photographers, I didn't have a zillion heads in my way. I mean, there was a few hardcore guys, and everybody kind of not cut everybody off, or they would get yelled at.
When I first started shooting pictures back in 1978, I actually made my first water housing out of plexiglass. It was a terrible housing, but it worked.
We had to break down the door with the camera equipment. It's nothing like you guys have now with a digital and put a card in and shoot 2,000 photos in one go and shoot 14 frames a second.
When I was shooting with guys like Scott Eichner, who would shoot with film and they're swimming in the water, it was no joke. It was you had to be so much more patient. You had to be so much more precise. You had to be so much more lucky.
Back in the day, let's say I go in the water, I have 36 pictures. You pick those photos. We had to be very selective in all our shooting because we had to go all the way back to the beach. I used to consider a 3-roll day was a really good day.
When you swam out, it was a big deal to pick and choose what you shot. And there were so many times where you'd hold back on shooting and you should have shot, but you knew you had such a limited amount of film and you didn't want to have to swim right back inside again to change film because it's kind of heavy going in and out of pipeline. So you really tried to make it last.
In film days, we really savored our shots and waited for the ultimate moment and the ultimate wave, and everything had to come together, and nothing more important than the last shot that we savored, which was number 36 on a 36 exposure roll. And many of my best, most classic, famous shots were actually frame 36.